Happy Monday to you. This is the John McEntyre Money Show Live. I'm John McEntyre. Today is Monday, August 4th, 2025. We're well into the next year. Second half of the year. We call it the third quarter. Um, but we have a good show today. It's mainly for the top scams aimed at seniors. But before I get into that, because it's a story that actually triggered it, it's something that happened last year, and I had been sort of following it, and it came after I had already done a live about scams. But scams towards seniors is just so prevalent, and it's getting worse and worse now with AI and with so much division, so much upheaval in America. Anytime there's a lot of noise and action and things, a lot of moving parts that's going on, scammers, they come out big time because it's just so much noise out there. People don't know what to believe, what to trust and everything. And so this is a good time. Scammers have always been out there, but it really gets bad this when conditions are like this. And so like I said, before I get into that, uh, share those wallet wins. We're all live. This is live for your financial health and wellness. Share your questions. Put that uppercase Q in the chat or capital Q, whichever one it was raised. I was talking to someone and they was like, yeah, we were told to use capital A, capital B, capital C. Then later on with technology became more prevalent. It became uppercase. So whichever one you choose to use is fine by me. I know what you mean, so I can work with it. They both look the same. All right. If you have a wallet win, don't forget it's those small wins that builds wealth. Those small wallet wins. Put that hashtag wallet win in there. Share it in the chat. I see it. I will definitely celebrate with you here on live because there's others that need to see them and understand that they are. It's not some magic formula or anything like that. It's just those those wallet wins applied with discipline that builds wealth. Excuse me, and financial health. Sorry about that. That cough came from nowhere on me. But let's actually get into this today. Um, like I said, it was a story. On April 19th, 2024, Ann Myers, age 74, entered an Ohio credit union, in Ohio, flashed a pistol and demanded money. She left with $500. Ann had never created a crime. She said when she don't remember ever creating a crime. She said maybe when she was little, she may have taken a candy bar without asking, but that was it. And you know, she was, being an amateur at this, she made so many mistakes that it was easy for her to be caught. And when she was soon caught, she confessed that she did it. And the reason why she did it is because she had lost her life savings to online scams. And her family corroborated the story. And she had borrowed money from friends, the friends and family that told her how much she had borrowed. One friend, she had borrowed $65,000 from one friend to help pay these so-called fees that had been demanded from these online scammers. And it was basically desperation that that made her resort to bank robbery. And so as you can see, 74 years old, if you live to 100, you've lived over 3/4 of your life, never committed a crime. Maybe the only thing you remember ever taking was a candy bar when you were a child, and you have saved and you have invested, you have done what you were supposed to do for your retirement, and now it's being taken by a scammer, and you are basically resorting to bank robbery. That's sad. That's extremely sad. But like I said, today's time, especially now, when technology really came to the forefront, scams have always been out there. There have always been scams, and I'm going to cover some of them. That's like more, that's like the top scams. This is from the FBI and from all of the authorities, talking about the top scams that's going on right now. I'm going to talk about those, but um, this particular scam that had happened with Anne, it was a it was committed by someone who was claiming to be with U.S. Customs and had convinced her to send thousands of dollars over time. So this wasn't like a one-time thing. She was actually, it was like over time, because like I said, some of the family, one friend had given her $65,000. Another family member had given her $5,000, and it was to cover these so-called fees. And so we can see someone resorting to bank robbery. It just shows the devastating impact of financial fraud, and what it can and the effects it can have on our senior population. Because at 74, I can understand the desperation, because most people, they're 15 years younger, they're in their 50s, somewhere in their 50s, and they're not feeling exactly confident and hopeful about their retirement years. So you can just imagine, this lady, she could have already been maybe 10 years into retirement. Who knows? It doesn't say how old she was when she retired. So you don't really know how old she was. But just say if it was the usual retirement age, 65, that means she's 9 years in to retirement. So whether she worked or not, I don't know. But I do know, I'm willing to bet that she was on a fixed income, and that every dollar mattered. And so now she had lost all of it to an online scammer. And so that's a sad situation to be in, knowing that your financial future that you worked so hard to establish, to plan and save for, and it's just gone at the, just like that, from a scammer. And so, according to the FBI, in 2023, older adults lost over $3.4 billion to fraud. And in these top scams, there was like four of the top that they named, even though I'm going to mention more of them. It was these top four that really, the top one was the one that almost caused half of that damage. And so just to show you how important it is, because when I name this particular scam, you'll understand the financial ramifications. The number one scam is investment. It's just investment scams. It accounted for $1.2 billion lost, that seniors lost. That's definitely the most costliest form. It's basically criminals posing as financial advisors, maybe, accountants, advisors, whatever, attorneys. I've seen those stories. I've seen a lot of them committed on, the younger population by different professionals. Here in Charlotte, probably one of the largest was involved in real estate fraud. And it was against all age groups. It was against some of them was, early 30s. Some of them, they were buying their dream home, and actually it was luxury. These were not low income people. These was extremely high income people. This was a luxury scam, and it was way up there. I mean, and everyone, the agent, the attorney, the appraiser, they all went to federal prison behind it. And so these scams, the investment scams, and we all know the big one, Bernie Madoff, and he scammed celebrities and athletes, the so-called financially literate people, high financially literate people. But he did it over time. It's not like he did it one day. It was just over time. And that's usually how all of these scams pretty much work. Some of them went much faster, but the investment is usually a slower moving type scam. So that was number one. Number two, the tech support scam. pretty much, and since COVID, even before COVID, with all of the different social medias and smartphones and everything, um, it took some time, but the seniors, they really embraced technology. So the people that weren't seniors yet, they were, the the like the progressive group. They they attached themselves to technology, and so they aged with it, and so they're pretty much used to it now. And they've been used to having to deal with tech support. I myself, my our computers, if they are, something going on with them, you talk to tech support. They get permission to have access to your computer, even though, from a remote location, so that they can help you. And that's basically what this scam is. Now they have access to your computer. You've given them permission and access. So now they are actually in your computer. They're part of your computer now. And so they're controlling it just as much as you are. And so you can see where the scam would come into play with that one, and we all use our computers and our phones for pretty much everything. And so that means bank accounts, brokerage accounts, everything, your passwords, all of this stuff, the scammers have access to it. So that's number two. The old tried and true scam, the confidence romance scam. Seniors, they're older, and a lot of them, they're in, like isolation. Most of them, a lot of them are widows or widowers, divorcees, so they get lonely. And seniors, more and more seniors, now that we have all of these different companies, that niche companies that serve particular segments of the market. You have the market, the group that they do the online dating websites and services, social media sites, dating sites, and all of this. The scammers are pretending to be potential romantic partners, and every day there's a story about someone who, was lonely, or, was just ready to date again and get out there, and older and inexperienced, because maybe they've been married for a couple of decades, or 2, 3, 4 decades. Now they're widowed or divorced, and they've lost their edge. They're not as sharp in that area they used to be. Their radar is a little dull now, and so it's easy to be taken advantage of. Get the compliments and everything, and we all know how that happens. If you are a guy, a younger guy, you've scammed someone, scammed a girl. You just didn't take her money. You probably just got the date, or you did whatever, and it happens. But this is serious, because now it goes into financial type situations. Now they have the confidence of the person, and they are emotionally attached. It maybe has gone into true romance and everything, and now the shields down and the guards down, everything, and so now the game begins. Um, there was a movie. It was made, I think, back in the 70s or 80s, and it was basically based off of that. Two comedians. It was, oh my goodness, can't remember the two actors, but it was basically the confidence game. The movie was Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I remember the name of the movie, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and that's basically what it was. These two guys, they were just scamming. They were like in these wealthy areas of the world, scamming women, these wealthy women, young and old, and they lost the game because one of the women was faster than them. And good movie, good movie. I was turned on to it. A friend of mine was watching it, and I sat and watched it. I was like, actually, because I like the actors, it's actually a good movie. But it just showed how easy these scams, because these were high end scammers. These guys were going after the big money, and they were getting it. I mean, they were getting more than money. They were getting properties, and yachts, and cars, and everything. And so, it's an age-old scam. This movie was back in the 70s, and so that has been happening, over half a century, centuries. The confidence game is not a new game. The number four Biggest one, as far as the FBI is concerned, is just they call it the imposter scam, where uh, it's aimed at like grandparents or government officials. Is someone posing with the grandparent scam? Is criminals posing as grandchildren in distress, claiming to be in immediate financial need. And that's one of the fast moving ones. Like, hey, this is your grandson, this is your granddaughter, and I really need money. Something happened. I'm in trouble. My car broke down, or, uh, something happened school wise. I need money. And they've gotten the right information. They've answered the correct questions. And the grandparent, want to be a great grandparent, falls for it. And so they send them money, however they send it, like do a Cash App or whatever, Zelle, Venmo, whatever, and they're doing it. The second one, government impersonation scams. Most of us have all of us have seen one of these come through email, and now with text. We get them a lot on text now, and just report them as spam. But there are a few more precautions to take. This is where scammers impersonate government officials, the IRS or the FBI. They threaten arrest or prosecution unless the victim provides funds or other payments. And most people, when they hear IRS or FBI, excuse me, they cooperate uh, because they know that these two groups are like, the Russian version of the KGB. They can basically do whatever they want to, and they know that they will do it. And so it's that fear that causes them to, just they lose rational thought for a second. The fear takes over, and the urgency of it makes them, make those type of decisions and just, pay it, because they move fast on them. We can take credit card, we take whatever. If you don't do this, we're going to take property, we're going to garnish wages, we're going to take your social security check, anything. They'll say whatever just to get the person moving forward and get them into that fear and that urgency and emergency state. And they just don't want the hassle, so they cooperate quickly. And that's like one of those fast moving scams. So you really have to be cautious of that. There are a few others, the email phishing scam. They send fraudulent emails that appear to be legitimate and trick seniors into revealing, their personal information. You have the lottery sweepstakes scams. We've seen those. They inform the victims that they've won a lottery or sweepstake, and they need to pay a fee to claim the winnings. And we all know, if you've won something, you're pretty much prepaid. You bought the ticket, or you've done something, the scratch off or whatever, to have won. Next one, healthcare. This is a big one. Healthcare, Medicare, health insurance fraud. That one is probably, in my opinion, one of the faster growing ones. They impersonate Medicare representatives, or they offer those fake medical cures, free medications to gain personal information. It's just as simple as, we can help you with this. All we need is your credit card information, your social security number, something, your Medicare number, something, and they can start the process of the scam. So you have to be very vigilant about this. And see, I'm talking to seniors today, but I'm also talking to the caregivers. These are the people, the kids, the grandkids of the seniors, the friends of the seniors, the people that are protecting the seniors. You have to be just as vigilant as watching for them, and being able to understand and listen to what they're saying. Countless times we've talked to the kids, or the caregiver, and we know that they're just doing their job, protecting. They're not not trying to get in the way or whatever. They're just making sure that their family or friend, their senior family or friend, grandparent, parent, whatever, is not being taken advantage of. And that's a good thing. Better safe than sorry. And there are precautions in place that can handle that. Um, and so that one really watch for. Then it's the fake charity. The usual scammers. The scammers pose as representatives of legitimate charities, and this happens especially around holidays and natural disasters. We're constantly having natural disasters now, and they're getting bigger and stronger and more destructive. And so the ones that are doing good, I've talked about this around some of the hurricanes that hit here in the Carolinas and other parts of the United States. Um, the good ones, they're out there, they're on the forefront, and they're doing their job, what they were created and founded to do. But along with that comes those scammers. They come, they follow through, and they have that story, they have their mission in place, and they sell it very well, and they are, soliciting donations. And so you have to be very careful about that one. I'm quite sure everyone has heard, has been contacted by a charity, a fake charity. So you just have to know. Some of the big ones are doing such a great job. The Red Crosses, they they're doing such a great job. They're like one of the top, the cream of the crop in my opinion. But there are some that are legitimate. They're smaller. They are legitimate. They're local. They do come in town, and there's ways to know if they're legitimate or not. It's not to say that anyone other than like those big names are scams. They're not scammers. You just have to make sure that they provide the correct information for you before you make that donation. But if if it's a local thing, there are plenty of food pantries and local ministries and those nonprofits that have already been doing what they're doing, and so that should be an easy one. If you never heard of them, don't know who they are, just go find the ones that have been serving your community, even before disasters, because there are some of them, they are always serving. It's just that when a natural disaster hit or something like that, they kind of they up their services. They start serving in areas that they normally haven't, but they can. And so this is responding to the market and to the needs of the people. And so that should be a need. So it's important for the seniors and the caregivers to be aware of these common scams and take the right steps to protect themselves, making sure it's the open communication, the skepticism towards unsolicited contacts. There's nothing wrong with healthy skepticism. Someone's talking fast and they're demanding money. Ask questions. Verify identities that can help prevent you from being taken advantage of, and protect yourself. Some of the ways to also do that is to like I said, be wary of the unsolicited call, emails, or text. If it doesn't have a name, if it's just a number, if it's a call, I let it go to voicemail. You can go online and research certain numbers and names if they do provide a name, and it will tell you, that's Google. Google is your best friend in those types of situations. Never give out personal information such as Social Security numbers, Medicare numbers to unknown callers or websites until they prove who they are and that they are legitimate. And they have, especially when it comes to serving the senior market, you just can't contact a senior and ask for information, especially when it comes to like Medicare. If it's a Medicare representative, they have to get permission from you to talk to you about it. You have to tell them what you want to talk about, and they can't talk about it right then and there. They have to wait a couple of days now. Some rules have been put in place. And so if someone just call you out of the blue and you have not requested information, scam, hang up. Now, if you have requested information, they should be able to prove who they are by the certain types of questions that they ask, and you will know. They'll let you know who they are. And if you receive the suspicious call claiming to be from a government agency or a loved one in trouble, verify. Contact the agency or the individual directly. using a phone number, you should have a phone number. Like I said, these agencies and people should not be secret. They should not come out of the blue. You should already sort of know about them. Just exercise, caution with online interactions and relationships, especially if the request for money or those suspicious circumstances arise. They're talking like this now. All of a sudden, they've switched gears. Now they're asking for money. They're beginning to get more focused in a particular area, talking about maybe your material objects, things that you have, your jewelry, stuff like that. When this conversation shifts, it's time to, put the radar up and slow things down. No matter how cute they are, how charismatic, how sweet they are, slow it down. Slow it down. Because, like I say, that's an old game. It happens all the time. Consult. This is why you need a trusted advisor in your life. I think one of our biggest values we provide is just they know our clients and relationships that we have. They know they can contact us about these types of things, and we receive the calls. Hey, I received this call, and they said that they were from this company and this, that, and the other. And if it's legitimate, I'll say yes, it is legitimate, but it really doesn't pertain to you and your situation. And just don't talk to them anymore. Just say, hey, I'm already working with someone and they should leave you alone. And, get on the do not call list. Put me on the do not call list, and they should do that. And then if they call back again after you've requested to be put on the do not call list, they are in trouble. That's lawsuits happens all the time because of that. There's some large class action lawsuits in place now, in progress now, because of that particular situation. And so you want to have someone that you can call if anything happens, no matter what it is. You can call them. They should be your trusted advisor. Just contact them. And then last but not least, if you know it's a scam, make sure to report it. If you believe you've been scammed, or someone that has been victim of elder scams, elder fraud rather, you report it to the FBI's Internet Crime Compliance Center. IC3 is what it's called. You can just Google it, or you can contact your local FBI field office. Anyone, any local authority. If you can't remember that, just call the police. They'll direct you in the right direction. Just say, hey, I can't remember, who am I to talk to? They'll let you know. They should let you know. And you can also just contact the Department of Justice's Elder Initiative. And they have all the resources you will ever need for pertaining to elder fraud. So I know that was a lot of information, but that's just how important it is. I know I've done a show or two or three maybe about fraud, but it's just so prevalent in society today. I can't just, one show does not do it, because we have to keep talking about it. What is called being intentionally redundant, talking about the same thing, because when it stops happening, we'll stop talking about it. As long as it's happening, and now it's not only happening, it's growing. And so we really have to talk about it more and more and more. I've talked to some of the other advisors and coaches that do online shows, TV shows, radio shows, and they're saying, yes, I'm doing more and more shows about scams because I'm receiving more and more calls and questions about them. And so we really have to talk to them, because going back to the story of the 74-year-old lady, I'm thinking to myself, okay, when my grandmother was living, or when my mom was living, I mean, I can't fathom getting a call, hey, your mom, your grandma just robbed the bank, just robbed the credit union, just robbed the local store. They had a gun and they walked in demanding money. I'm like, I just can't wrap my mind around that. But as you can tell, it's happening. And this is one story. It's not the only story. It's happening more and more often. Theft and everything like that happening because something happens to the senior and they have no other alternative. And it's kind of sad, like I say, later on in life turn into a life of crime just because you've lost all of your money. And so I hope I provided some valuable information. That was my intention today. Uh, if you have any questions, comments, uh, don't hesitate to call us. If you think you've been a victim of fraud, you don't know what to do, give us a call. We'll direct you in the right direction. You don't have to be a client to talk to us about that type of stuff, because it's a quick process to help you go into the right direction. Like I said, this is second half of the year, maybe time for that financial checkup. Give us a call, talk about it. No obligation. We provide no obligation consultations, 20 or 30 minutes conversation, just see where you are financially and see what we can do to help point you in the right direction so you can hit your financial targets. So with that being said, tune in next week. I'll be back same time, same channels. Share me on Facebook, share me on YouTube, subscribe, like, hit that thumbs up, let everyone know, and we'll talk.